everybody. Happy Father's Day. Coffee Talk coming at you with Guido from the left side of the Atlantic.
And happy Father's Day from Pilgrim on the correct side of the Atlantic with his cup of tea. Back
Eh,
to Royal Blend this week.
Perfect.
You got
All is well in the world then.
all is
Is that
well.
the Father's Day Royal
It
Blend?
is, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. This is Father's Day Royal Blend, made special.
Stickler, we are not getting flooded. We're getting plenty of rain. I'm not. My house is actually at one of the highest points in my city because it's in the oldest neighborhood. So that people tended to go to the non-flooded parts first. The rest of the peasants live out in the swamp, so I don't worry too much about it.
Peasants.
If my house floods,
Yeah.
it's biblical.
Yeah. Everybody else is in boats or in
Yeah,
arms.
exactly. If my house floods, Panama City is up to the rooftops for the rest of the city. I mean, that's about a 40-foot flood.
Wow.
So that would be
It is biblical.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, actually, Randall, we sit at about 32 where I
Wow.
am. Yeah, it's a third. It's a pretty good drop down to the water.
Well,
Yeah,
that's interesting because you wouldn't have thought of that area, would you? Because when you look on the map, it looks very much waterlogged.
it is a
The
swamp.
whole
It's just this place where I live. This one section is a little. It's just
is
higher,
a hill.
and it's kind of been built up over the years. Indians lived here since forever.
Yeah.
There were Indian mounds here back in the 50s, back before we cared about keeping track of such things and saving them. Of course, it's all paved over and housed over by now.
Of
But
course. Yeah, of course.
the neighbor lady's awesome. We've talked about this, I think, but she's been here since the 50s. She lives in her
Right.
parents' house. She's probably 80 something now. She remembers when the road was dirt. She remembers when half of where we were was
Wow.
still forest. She had every kid in the neighborhood had boxes of pottery and arrows and atlatl heads
Wow.
and
Amazing.
yeah, she's got some
Amazing.
serious stories about this little neighborhood, which is pretty funny, pretty
See,
cool.
you've gone from one extreme to the other. You've gone from the mountains of Utah to the flatlands of the boglands of Florida, haven't you? Yeah.
I want my snow in the mountains. Stickler, thanks, man. Thanks for the sub. Very helpful. I do appreciate that. I like my snow in the mountains and my mountains in the
Yeah.
mountains, and I can go
Yeah.
visit the mountains. And then I like to not live where it doesn't where it's. I like to live where it doesn't snow.
Yeah, I get that totally. I want to live somewhere hot, but hot and dry, and then occasionally in the winters go and do some skiing or something. You know what
I
I
don't
mean?
get the dry part. The dry part's not working.
No.
Not here.
Well, unless you've got the AC on.
All right, guys, channel news that we got going on. Actually, a little bit of news. So, a couple things. Number one, I do have the podcast out for you guys. Last week's episode is up, and I'll put this one up when we finish. Let me put the address. That should be it. It's a website called Buzzsprout. If you're familiar, that's where you'll find just the audio portion of this. So, some of you have asked for that. I'll try to remember to advertise it later when there's more people in here, but it is available. Number two, coaching is ongoing. I've had several sessions, so that's been awesome. If you're interested, Guido at 1212gaming.com is what you're looking for. I have some sessions coming up this week, so that's out there. 100 Battle update, 100 Battle Challenge update. I finished the UDES, Pilgrim.
Nice. Okay, that is
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, I am so glad because
Yeah.
I did so poorly in this tank. I just wanted to talk about this for a minute because it bothered me, and I was trying to figure out what the heck, why did I suck so bad in this tank? Because I don't usually have tanks I struggle to get 50% in, and this one I'm sitting at 45. Can you guys see that? Do I need to scroll
Really,
up?
that is quite low for you, isn't it?
It is
I mean,
very
I
low.
don't even think I've got a 45% win rate on your tank.
Yeah, after 100 battles in a tier 8, that's actually not a terrible tank.
No.
you know so I was thinking about, like, all right, what's going on? So I started looking at it. I thought there were some interesting things here everybody might be interested in 40
Interestingly interesting.
45% win rate. 891 XP is kind of low, so that's
Yes.
for me. That, and now it's high for having a 45% because
Yeah.
my damage, my DPG is actually solid. That's more of 50%. So
Yeah.
this is a low sample size even at 100 battles. There's probably some noise in these, and there's just got a little unlucky. But I did underperform in the win rate. So there has to be some other reasons than just unlucky.
Right. Right.
This one was, so the armor use is 0.07, and I put it up against my 52 C52 CS52 LIS, and everyone knows that's a pretty good tank.
Yeah.
Higher average XP at 965, 59% win rate on 100 battles. Same argument of low sample size noted. Armor
But it's
efficiency.
equivalent sample size, so it is comparable.
Yeah.
Because 100 battles on 100 battles is equivalent. So
Armor use efficiency of 0.28. That's the turret.
Right.
It's got a good turret. So what's going on, in my estimation, and if you look at the DPG, which is actually slightly lower than the 14.5, the assistance is the same. The hit rate, I believe, is similar in the 70, almost exactly the same. Survival rate's actually decent in the UDES at 33 and 52 ILS at 37. So these numbers are all pretty similar, except for the armor use efficiency. The problem with the stupid 14.5 is it has one trick, the hydraulics and the depression, and it can't leverage it for crap because its turret is garbage.
Right, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a selling point, isn't it? Yeah.
So you really have to be careful with that tank. You can't get caught out. The reload's really long. It hits hard, but the reload is really long. So I thought that was kind of an interesting comparison to two tanks with very similar stats with quite different results for me.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk a little bit about this later in Coffee Talk, about how this game is played, how the devs design it, what their intentions are, and what really happens.
Yeah.
Which are not necessarily connected.
No, it almost seems out of balance, doesn't it? When you get a situation like that, when you look at it, the UDES becomes an out of balance tank purely because of the mechanic that's been applied to it.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a not soft stat, but a hidden disadvantage. Whereas they probably thought it was quite an advantage to have that sort of mechanic on the.
Well, it is if you can leverage it, but that's my point. It's so hard to leverage the way the game is played.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yes, you can do rich poking things, but then you throw in the fact that the gun is relatively derpy, so it has a hard time doing some of that and hitting. And I don't know. It just Steel Guts, how you doing, man? Everybody, check out Steel Guts stream right there, Twitch.tv. You can see it in the chat. Fantastic streamer, and I think you're still in Skills NA guild. So all you here's to all you baboons, right? Is that it? Yeah, baboons. Here's to the baboons. Yeah. I'm cheersing them with some coffee in the morning. We don't want to get too crazy.
No.
There's no vacation in it, as my dad would say, or would have said.
That's cool. That's cool.
Oh man! So anyway, there you go. I finished that thing. Goodness gracious, I am glad that's in the rearview mirror. I don't know what to say. I've never struggled with a tank that long like that. I'm gonna have to go back to it someday, and I am going to play it until I get it to 50%, and then maybe never touch it again. But there you go.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting couple of weeks.
The other one I finished is the CDA, the tier. You guys saw me playing that one quite a bit.
Okay. All right.
The French.
I quite like that.
Yeah, and I got it to 51%. Remember, I was talking about I was having trouble with that one. That one I finally figured out. I was being a little too over aggressive, but it does have some really nice ability. Where's that dumb thing? It does have some really nice ability end game to clean stuff up because of its mobility. So I got it to 51%.
No, it's almost. Well,
right there.
Yeah, you're right. It's almost. I wouldn't say you hang back, but you if you start to be over aggressive with that particular, it just won't last because it's not armored enough. But it is mobile. It is mobile. Yeah.
Stickler, good point. Exactly. Dicker Max, amazing depression,
That's
but
a good point.
any part of the tank shows it gets penned, and then of course the HE problem with the Dicker Max as well.
Yeah.
100%. Same situation, same kind of idea of why it's not fantastic in the game.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I said, podcast is on Buzzsprout. Got some more people in here. I'm gonna just throw that address out one more time for you guys. Some of you asked for this so you could listen to it just the audio. That's where it will be posted, and I'll post another one today. Let me know if that works for you, because sometimes when you're the guy that owns the website and you get addresses, it's not really the right address. based on the part of the web page you're looking at. But that should work. If it doesn't, we'll figure it out. Coaching is available, guys. Let me know, Guido@1212.com if you want.
How is that going with the coaching? Are you enjoying it at the moment?
I am. Yeah, it's awesome. It's
Cool.
awesome. I got kind of a breadth of. I've got a couple players that are quite good,
Yeah.
and so we're working on some higher order stuff. I've got a couple kind of newer, not good players that we're working to get them
Right.
up closer to 50%. So it kind of goes across the whole region.
Yeah.
Pig, what's happening,
Well,
man?
it's useful because you'll know this as an instructor. It's nice to have a whole spectrum of levels and skills that you're trying to help, because it can get a little bit humdrum if it's the same level all the time. So you can gear your instruction towards the newer player
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
and when good players come, of course, good players will always tell you there's always something to learn. So they're obviously learning something from you as well. So
Yeah.
good news. Yeah, I like
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. I'm still nailing down the format, although there's several formats that you can do it in. I
Right.
think so far it's been very effective to play a couple of games, grab the replays, and then debrief them.
Right.
So we can break down both my play and their play. One of the interesting things about it is, and this is what I'm going back and forth on, is right now I'm kind of doing platoons with them, but the problem with that is that doesn't really. Now you have two pretty good players in a platoon.
Yeah.
You're not really just looking at their solo stuff. The only way to do that is to share a screen. So I may start trying to do a little bit of that because I can't follow in game unless I die,
Yeah.
and I don't want to pick some tank, go die just so I can follow the person.
No.
I tend
Well,
to
the other
last
option-
longer than they do. Not always, but I tend to last longer than they do. So all of a sudden they're gone, and I'm playing the game. So there's all that kind of
Right.
stuff.
Well, there is the other option, if you could get enough people involved, would be to set up a training room and have a 7 versus 7 or something like that. If you could get enough people involved so you could have 7 genuine enemy and 7.
Yeah, that would be a lot. There would be a lot of logistics to
Would
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I think that's it for channel news, guys. Nothing else to babble about on that. Missions and specials. Should we get our show on?
We should. I think we should. Yes, I've got to
right.
find it. Hang
All
on, there it is. I had it ready, and you surprised me. There you go.
Surprise blue light coming at you.
Yes.
All right, let's get this Chrome stuff going on. I always have to futz with it. Someday I'm going to figure that out. Nope, that's not what I wanted.
But not today.
There we go. That was my script. All right.
There you go.
There it is. Well, what do we got, folks? What do you think? What kind of...
Well, I think.
CS52 LIS. We talked about that. Good segue
Nice.
right there. That's a quite good medium tank, friends. Quite good.
That's a good price point. Here we
Yeah.
go. It's a good price point for the standard package. £25 for me.
Yep, 31 bucks for us.
$50.
Plus a coupon. A coupon can be used.
Yep.
The cockroach is out if you just really have to infest the game with more E25s. See you, Steel Guts.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming by, man. Appreciate it. Have a good day. Happy Father's Day to you. Even if you're not a father, you have one. I'm pretty
Oh,
much.
yeah.
It's pretty much guaranteed, right?
Well, you would hope, wouldn't you?
I was.
Unless there's any test tube kids out there, but we won't go there.
I suppose it could be a case of not having the father in the life, and then of course
Yeah.
now we just brought it all down.
I know. Didn't
Now
we
it's
just? He's just subscribed. Change the subject. Sparky subscribed.
Yeah, that's what a day and age we're in. I can't even say Happy Father's Day without then getting into 14 scenarios where someone might get offended,
Yeah.
and then try to talk my way out of it. Right?
There you are. Spade holes getting deeper. Just keep digging, sir.
Happy Father's Day, you miscreants.
Yeah. Happy Father's. Well, you see what happens if they're a same-sex couple and they're both female. So there's, technically what becomes the father. Yeah, let's stop that now. Anyway, the CS52 LIS.
Nature does its thing, whatever. All right, CS52. We have the T77 medium. Medium?
Yeah.
Is it a medium?
Yeah.
No, it's not a medium. It's the medium package.
According to Wargaming, it's a deluxe, a medium, or a standard. Yeah,
I read
yeah.
that as the T-77 medium tank, and I'm like, I don't think it's a medium tank. It's the medium package.
It is.
And so instead of the large, medium, and small package, it's the standard medium deluxe. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't, okay.
But it's still a good price. You know,
Sure,
for you know, a
Well,
tier
they're-
8 premium.
Their price reduction did what I thought was a good idea that they did about
Yeah.
half a year ago or a year ago, whatever it was. Okay, so we've got this is a good casemate, the Kanonen Panzer 105, not the 90. The 105 is quite a good casemate. STA2 is a hidden gem. That's a sleeper. I actually like my STA2 quite a bit.
Do you?
Yeah.
Now that's surprising.
Got a buff recently, so it's quite nice.
Okay.
Type 62 is a fun scout at tier
Yeah.
6 or 7.
Yeah.
One of those
7,
two.
I think.
Is it 7?
I
Yeah.
remember.
And then the 4503, yeah, it's pretty good heavy. And we got some other cats and dogs, which we've seen before. The IS-3A is still out there. Silent Huntress, my friends, if you are a Prime Gaming kind of person, make sure you go to your Twitch page and grab your Silent Huntress. Anyone know who Silent Huntress is? I tried the Google foo this morning. I can't figure it
I
out.
don't know. Some sort of character of, I don't know, cartoons.
I don't know,
I mean,
is
for
it-
me, it's a cartoon.
Is it an anime character of some kind, or is it from a video game?
See, this is where it comes unstuck with me because my mindset is the same level as, you know, it's a cartoon on the same level as Dick Dastardly and Muttley and
So Cliffy
Tom and
says
Jerry.
it's not a tie-in. So is this created from whole cloth? Is it just something that Wargaming made up, or
oh, is it something
I don't
they made
know.
up?
She has a name,
Did
Matsusisha
it?
or Matsusishu or something, which made me
I
start
don't
thinking anime or of some kind, or they had their own animation, and then okay. Alright. Yeah,
Oh,
when I look it up, I expected to get Silent Huntress as a character from the anime or cartoon or game or whatever,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
there's nothing there. In fact, the top hits are for World of Tanks stuff, so must just be their thing.
Okay.
She's got a name. They've named her. It's not just the Silent Huntress. Anyway, gold. Yes, buy some. Nothing really big
Yeah,
there.
get some gold.
Just the small kits and stuff. Is it too early to start talking about Christmas?
No, it's the middle of the year, so we're on the downward slope to Christmas. So
Yeah.
let's do that.
Should we start?
Yeah.
Should we start?
Yeah.
Should we start complaining
Start
right?
a rumor about, yeah.
Should we start complaining right now that it's not ever going to come?
No,
Like, because the first 2 weeks when it hasn't showed up
Yeah.
and there's no info and everyone starts saying, "God, are they going to do the Christmas special?" Can we
We're
start
not
right now?
it this year. No, they're going to have an expanded Halloween event to make up for the 2 years ago when they failed miserably.
I forgot about Halloween. Should we start complaining about the Halloween event that didn't work
Yeah.
2 years ago?
Yeah. Well,
And then last year they had to try to have those little boxes, the little Halloween boxes. So we bitch about Halloween boxes.
yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. We've had no front lines either. Says
We
the-
could, Pig. We could complain about
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
complaint. I like that one. Okay.
I
good.
think we're on a roll now. We've got a series of complaints we can.
Frontlines is coming.
Frontlines.
Frontlines is coming.
Yeah.
It was mentioned in the Battle Pass article that it's one of the ways you can get points. So I suspect that it is planned in the probably fairly near future. All right. Anyway, vehicles.
Let me just read the spiel for the Commander Mochizuki. Okay, let me read the spiel out. Commanders, this month's Prime Gaming drop is here. Woohoo. And it features a unique commander, the Silent Huntress herself, Mochizuki, trained in the school of the Hidden Door. Well, as Sixth Sense as a zero poet repairs and jack of all trades, she keeps a low profile on the battlefield, but when you see her, you better be worried. For many years she spent dedicating herself to her art will prove invaluable on the battlefield, even if she swapped her katana for a cannon.
So hold on.
Also, yeah, hang on, hold on.
Hold on. So she's the sneaky silent huntress that you don't see, but I
Yeah.
shouldn't worry until I see her. I feel like I should worry if I don't see her.
That invisible ninja.
If I see her, then okay, now we know where she is.
It's fine, isn't it?
I'm not worried about that. It's always the one I don't see. I'm worried about.
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, and if this is made up, they've done an absolute stonking job of writing it up, haven't they? It makes me want to sign up for Twitch Prime right now.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
not.
I think she's probably actually behind me right there.
I think that, yeah.
Yeah.
Woo.
Don't look now, Pilgrim, but she's behind.
Do you think?
She's right behind you. Yeah.
I need an anti-silent huntress light on.
Yeah.
There we go.
And
That'll
it's-
screw up.
and
Right.
the lighter up.
There you go, that lighter
Instead
up.
of running to the car and driving away, make sure you run back into the house. Don't.
Brilliant. Okay,
Yeah,
let's
don't.
go there.
All right. More stuff for sale. We've got these are exclusive, so you may not all be seeing these. Some of these I think are the Twitch Prime stuff.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think I had a lot of it.
So we got the Lorraine. These are all the same things we've seen for a while. So specials wise, not much going on with any of this stuff, fellas. And I don't know how many of you are still actually buying tanks.
See, that's the point. That's a good point. Is anybody now? Because I don't know about you, because of the number of tanks you've got, but certainly I've reached the point where I mean I've already talked about this on Coffee Talk about 4 or 5 weeks ago. I am soaked with premiums. I don't want any more. I've got
Yeah.
premiums that's gathering dust now because I don't use them, and so I'm not going to spend money on them.
Now here's
I'm not buying any more.
I wish I'd saved. I don't know if I took a screenshot. I wish I'd have saved the guy's name. The other day, I think it was yesterday, I was in a battle with the guy that was in a 703 version 2. And he was top tier. It was on the one with the carrier and the ice, whatever the hell that's called. Ice Baby Berg, I believe is what it's called.
Right.
Dun 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 dun. Anyway,
yeah. Himmel's ice.
Kimmel's Ice Baby Berg.
Yeah.
He goes to, you know how they have those little sniper spots with the trees?
Right. Yeah.
Well, he goes there naturally.
Okay.
We lose because one of our top tier. I was in a T50-2 bottom tier scout, raging around doing what I could do, and we're losing by miles. And he's sitting there, being very bot-like,
Right.
sort of reacting like maybe there was a player there. I was having a hard time figuring it out. Like I'm like, this is not. It looks like a bot, and then it looks like a player, and then it looks like a bot. So I don't know if it's a really good bot or a really bad
Right.
player. You know, I don't know.
I'll go with the latter.
Well, the overall was 42%.
Okay.
Created on May 8th of this year.
Oh, it's either bot. That's
And he had, but here's the thing, what's weird about it is he had 30 or 40 premiums. And I don't know if it was one of these big packages. I lost interest. I was looking, I'm like, whatever, I'm not going to dig into it too much. But he had all kinds of, he had the low, he had the 703 version 2, he had all these tier 8 premiums on there. So clearly somebody had spent some money or maybe bought an account, although it said created on May 8th, 2021, so I don't think he'd bought it.
I wonder if the 40-odd tank package is including those sort of tanks or not.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Yeah.
He could have done that reset thing where you keep, but if he did, he did it to be a troll because it's just an awful troll bot account at 42%. I mean, his low was at 38% win rate or something.
Right, okay.
Somehow the 703 was at 33%.
Right.
I mean, I'm assuming that's because he actively threw matches if he could. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe he's very young. Yeah, I don't know.
Kid.
Maybe he's very
Probably
young.
a kid with his dad's, wallet or something.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If somebody straight up paid for that, which kind of where I'm going with this long, boring story, is somebody spent a bunch of money on May 8th, 2021 and bought a shit ton of premium tanks. Now, it could have been the re-roll, it could have been the reset thing, and I got it. There's other ways you can do that, but the most likely seems like somebody just chucked a bunch of money onto an account and is busy driving tier 8s around, in high tier battles, getting completely waxed.
Yeah. I mean, I've had similar games yesterday. A similar game. Don't ask me the map, I can't remember now, but it was a Churchill. In fact, it's the one where there's a great spotting bush on the right flank. If you spawn on the left-hand side, you've got a line of buildings, big open field, then you've got that, and the hill with the windmill at the top.
Yeah.
Is always so it's that one. I had a Churchill just sat at the building the whole game until it was end. I was in a Hellcat until the end game. I was in a Hellcat raging round on the enemy red line. I die straight to the hill, boom, 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 straight down, raging around like mad. He sat all game until the last 3-4 tanks, and then he trundled his way across that open space to get some damage. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I'm in a Hellcat. I am 5 miles ahead of you in a Hellcat. What are you doing? And then I looked it up, and he was a 42% player, 1,200 battles. The count was made this year.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't know. So, people are still spending some money, I guess, on it.
Yeah.
I suppose if it was compelling enough. Now, I don't have to. I mean, it's easy for me to say because I get a lot of this stuff, obviously, so I can create content. So I end up with a lot of these tanks. But as far as I used to buy just about everything that came out. And right now, I don't know if I would do that. It's so saturated. But, of course, then there's the idea of every new tank is the bee's knees. Not necessarily always, but sometimes you run into that new tank that's really good and everyone starts buying it. So I don't know, man. I know the chat said, most of you said no. Some of you still are, which is fine. I'm not necessarily advocating don't spend any money on the game. I mean, I like them to make some money so the game continues, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I think, like, coming back to the original point, you reach saturation point when it comes to premiums.
Right. So then the question becomes, what do we do? And this is directly related to what we'll talk about later when we get into Battle Pass, but more so on 1.13 and the whatever that new thing's called. What's it called? Field modifications.
Field mods, yeah.
Yeah, because I think they're casting about a little bit right now that I think, personal opinion, and probably some people are going to laugh and say, well, this happened a long time ago. I don't necessarily think so. I think the devs have lost their way a little bit, and I think they're casting about for a direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
More so than usual. Any dev team does that. You try to go in new directions, find new frontiers, get new customers. Yeah. It seems especially confused right now on what the plan is.
Yeah. I think it's difficult for developers because when you're we've got developers at our place. Unless you've got a specific project you're working on, it's hard to keep being fresh. And, with a game this old, trying to keep it fresh, it must be an absolute nightmare to sit down and try and work out how do we make this game stay fresh, stay relevant, and move the game forward as well. That's what they're trying to do.
And I think that's standard, right? I mean, that's every business tries to do that to some extent.
Yeah.
If they sit around too long, sometimes things overtake them. But at the same time, you don't want to destroy what you're having success with. I just feel like right now, it seems like there's so many big changes they're planning that are not necessarily well fleshed out or thought out, that it feels like there's stuff being chucked against the wall just to see what happens.
Yeah, I think also there's a consideration to make money because when we get to talk about the mods, field mods, there's a money involvement in that as well, which it's probably a balance of everything, the finance and everything else. Nave makes a good point, and this is a point I've been banging on about forever, is that to freshen this game up, you need to design better maps, not better, but different maps that you can play on, mobile maps, and so on, and also improve the existing maps, and stop doing things like putting tier 10s on things like mines, which is a map which is this big.
They seem to be there's a sort of I think attempt to cover that issue with the what do they call it, the practice maps or the new maps. What the hell is it called?
Whatever that's called.
Recon.
Yeah, there you go. The recon maps. Yeah.
Right. So these are new maps that people are going to be able to play and help them kind of develop. And I would agree with that. Maps are probably and that's the low hanging fruit for me. As many freaking maps as you can come up with. Yeah. Who cares if they're imbalanced a little bit? Just redevelop them. I mean, I realize there's a sunk cost in making them. You don't just chuck a map out there. There's a lot that goes into. I got it. But this idea that the map has to be absolutely 100% perfect when it comes out, which, oh, by the way, it never is.
No.
Right? I mean, even after all that testing. So let's go get more iterative. Let's be more agile on making maps, and maybe the recon thing is an attempt to do that. Right. But if you continue to add maps, that keeps interest, because now it's a new map to figure out. People will absolutely love that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, the learning curve for a new map is massive. You know, unless it is a channelized map. But the learning curve normally is huge, and that keeps a player interested because, like, oh, wonder what happens if I use this spot. Is this bush a bush, or is it just?
Well,
is this-
I would rather people never learn maps. I would rather maps change so much that we don't get these lockdown situations
Yeah.
where people
Yeah, that'd be
figure
good.
out the exact spot to go to and you can't even get to where the heavies brawl without getting your ass handed to you. You know,
That
and if
happens
we
to me
get
all the time.
that, if we get to there and then change it, that'd be fine. I'm not saying the maps change so much that you simply can't have a plan. That's not the point at
No,
all.
but individualistic changes like the odd rock moving or the odd rubble pile or the odd
Yeah.
bush doesn't become the bush anymore.
I mean, there are maps, and I know Pig's one of the biggest advocates for this or against this kind of thing. But there are maps, canalized maps, that there are places you don't go anymore because you lose half your hit points trying to get there. And in theory, that's where that type of tank is supposed to go, but you can't get there without getting
Yeah.
absolutely annihilated. I can
Yeah.
think of 4 or 5 maps just off the top of my head where it's that spot. So they give the light tank a spot to light tank, but the problem is if he does it right and the other team gets in the right spots, you get annihilated.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know, man. It's
Yeah,
all-
on Hill's Iceberg Baby Bird. Remember that game we had? I think it might have been Grinny. I don't know if we were a 3-person platoon, but we went across to the aircraft carrier that's buried in ice,
yeah.
and I was slightly to the left of everybody else. Got spotted on the ridge line and got taken out. 3 shots.
Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang. 10 seconds into the game, I was going where the heavies are supposed to go. I never got there.
Cliffy, yeah, exactly. And oh, by the way, it's in the actual sin of these particular situations and maps is usually it's only one side that's in the most danger.
Yeah.
Cliffy said
it's
iceberg,
real
yes,
balance.
and I know
Yeah.
what side you were on. It's the side you were just talking about, Pilgrim. That if they
Yeah.
get guys up on that ridge, you can shoot the other side a little bit, but it's harder to lock them down.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a good point as well, what Pig's saying about, various maps. Similar to that, various maps become killing grounds for one
Yeah.
side. One side, not both sides, but one side gets a slight advantage in that it becomes a killing ground.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
Pig.
just
Yeah,
can't
the Pilsen. I like that Pilsen fight, but I'm with you. You can't. There's no way to cleverly get forward without just taking it to the face, and you can get bombarded by Artie. And most of the heavy spots can be bombarded by Artie, which is okay if there was a way to move forward in them, but there's not because they're so channelized and locked down, and there's killing open areas.
yeah.
Which is why I'm not bothered so much with city maps as long as there's not too many of them. I like that they're different angles. That Himmelsdorf,
Yeah.
we make fun of it a lot. I'm fine with Himmelsdorf. You can go to a lot of different spots on that map and do stuff because there's so much cover to move around from and to. However, even that map has a big dead spot in the very middle. Nobody goes through.
That's it.
Most of these maps have these huge dead areas in some place, either covered by non-passable terrain or just simply so open and useless that if you look at the heat maps, nobody ever goes to these places. They're completely useless.
No. The only thing with Himmelsdorf and that big open space in the middle, if you get, and we're not talking wheelies here, but if you get a fast light and they are supported, that light can get across there to the other side to spot up everything on the other side.
On which one?
On the Himmelsdorf, the actual real Himmelsdorf, not the Himmels anything else Dorf, but the
So Himmelsdorf.
yeah, Himmelsdorf,
Okay.
that's the one.
Yeah.
If you can get a very fast light, get across that open ground and get to the other side and then cover up behind the buildings, you've got proxy lighting right the way along there, which then if you're supported by good TDs and that, there is opportunities. But that's about the only time that open space is usable. If you've got somebody who's switched on and the rest of the team click to it,
Yeah.
instead of just trundling off in the different directions.
Him's actual. And Pig makes another good point because the other issue with the maps and the tiering system and the mechanics of the game, he says late game when there's less guns and vision, these places become usable. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Which is why at high tiers everything's so locked down because You know, at lower tiers, it's bad enough with 15 tanks. It's hard to use some of these areas, but at least sometimes you can kind of use them based on the vision range these tanks have and the capabilities. But when you start talking tier 8, 9, especially 10, these small maps are they're just atrophied. They're locked down. It's as if they're rusted. You know, it's a mechanical situation where the mechanics are rusted shut. You can't move.
Yeah.
You go to certain places, and if you don't, you do that at your own risk. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, which is
I mean,
why
I think-
7v7 is so good.
Exactly, because
You know?
then even on a small map, you've got room for manoeuvre.
Yeah.
I mean, tank warfare, historically in real life, and it should be in the game, is a manoeuvre warfare type war. Hence Blitzkrieg and all the rest of it. It's not a static lob shells at each other, because you can do that on the Maginot Line all day long. Tank
Yeah.
warfare is designed to be mobile. If you can't be mobile because the maps constrict you so much, then you become just a slugfest, and it's like, ho hum, here we go again. Wait
Well, it's
for
a good.
ours
That's
to
a good.
take me out.
That's and whether or not the game is realistic in tank warfare is that it's a game. It needs to do its own thing and be an interesting as a game. But your point is well taken. And so, in my opinion, what the devs did on some of that is like, ooh, we need more mobility. Things are locked down. And one of them goes, oh, I know. Let's make a wheel tank that's fast as shit. It can run around and be mobile. Hey, that didn't address the problem, did it? No.
We fixed it now. We got
Yeah.
wheelies.
Yeah.
Never mind. 71 AMC. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah.
I can't stop laughing. That's made me cry.
All right.
Brilliant.
All right.
Yeah.
Where were we, actually? That was a good tangent. I don't even know what we were
that was a good
talking about.
tangent.
I think we were talking
We-
missions
we-
and specials, were we?
Yeah.
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 All right.
Did we go to the website? I can't remember. We went to the website.
We were there for a moment, yeah, and then we got talking, so I turned off. All right, Father's Day is going on, guys. Daddy's here. Creepy.
Yeah.
But anyway, what?
I know. I just can't. I can't. Ooh, that's bad.
Who? Who? Who authorized that?
Somebody with a very, very sad sense of humour.
Well, see, now I'm looking at it going, is this just somebody trying to get one over? They're like, ooh, this will be funny. You know, I don't know. World's best dad. Okay, fine, got it. There's some missions, guys. We got caring, protection, family time, get close. By the way, the code is thanks, Dad. Is that what it was?
Yeah, thanks, Dad. Spelt exactly as said.
Thanks, Dad. Thanks, Dad. It's a TS5 3-day rental, some boosters, I think a Coke, and there you have it. And a mission
Coca-Cola.
to get some kind of decal, I believe. All right, so you've got submissions for that as well. Pretty easy, 10,000 base experience, yada yada. It's grinding kind of thing. And then XP Fever is this weekend as well. And go get your Daddy's Here shirt. So if you want to see what that looks like, we'll just go up here. There it is, Daddy's Here.
There it is. Dear, oh dear. There it is. Oh dear. You've actually put that up there now, haven't you?
Anyway, just
the other thing that gets me is
feast your eyes on that.
While you're feasting your eyes on that, what is the emblem and the decals all about when it's all about moustaches? I mean,
Oh, that's a big
I mean,
thing
talking-
in the States.
I-
Yeah, the mustache thing is... That was a big
That's
deal
like-
about 5 years ago. But mustaches were
Okay.
everywhere. You could buy mustache, this, that, and the other. Everything was mustache related. So they've sort of
Right.
brought that back to life, I guess, for the Father's Day
Yeah.
thing. They all have
Okay,
mustaches of various sorts. I don't
Show
know
me
if
the
I don't know
gear.
if we can call his a mustache necessarily, but anyway.
oh dear.
What
I
is
don't know.
what
Show
is-
me the gear.
why is Commander there anyway? I don't know.
I don't know. Do you want to-
It's fine. It's fine, Pilgrim.
Brilliant.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
Not my business.
No, it's none of my business. Silent Huntress, this is her. We were talking about earlier.
We
There
were.
she is. I don't know. She look. Are you sure she doesn't belong to some?
It
Other
just looks like
thing?
it looks like it looks like she's like hidden by shadows. She's right in front of you. The Silent Huntress. Right. Okay.
But it's a commander, and you get some other goodies with it. So make sure. Is this? Oh, you do. Make sure you go in and get it in your depot, in your depot, my friends. You got to
depot.
go to your depot and click on the parachute and grab, because you have to actually select some of them. That God knows they can't just put them in your account.
No.
Why?
No, I don't know.
Now you need to select
Because-
the rental you want. That's fine.
Well, that's good. That's quite nice. I like that,
Yeah.
actually. But they prefer... Wargaming want people to be interactive, so they allow you
Is that what it
many
is?
clicks.
Okay.
Yeah, many clicks to be interactive.
It's for your own good. Is that what you're trying to say?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It makes
Okay.
you feel like you're part of the whole thing.
How you doing on match day?
Oh, crikey. Do you know what? I've not checked. Shall I check?
I can't get enough points now. I guess I played quite a bit yesterday, and I didn't get many points. So I guess they're really counting on you spending money for points now, or some such.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because,
probably.
because I've got I have 10 right,
I'll tell you.
but that's not out of all the
Probably-
games because I haven't had enough points to call all the games yet.
Right.
How's everybody else
Just gotta
doing?
log in. Okay, how have we done here? What have we got? How do you know how many...
If you look at it says tickets available right there on that part
Oh,
right
yeah.
there.
Oh, dear.
So I had to pick England over Czech Republic. So I picked England, and I picked Germany
Good.
over Hungary. Those seem
Yeah,
like
that's
two of the
probably-
easiest ones to pick from my
Yeah.
from my opinion. And I don't have any more points, otherwise I'd pick what I could. But I think I'd
Well-
take Italy over Wales. I think I'd certainly take Italy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
Switzerland, Turkey. I don't know. I think I
That's a
like
hard
this.
one.
I think I like the Swiss, but the Turks are they're no
Well,
slouches.
they're up and coming, but I've picked the Swiss, to be honest.
Hmm.
Purely because I think a lot of European teams are doing well in this, so
Yeah.
purely because it's a European team.
Netherlands over Macedonia, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know about Ukraine, Austria. That sounds like a toss-up to me.
It feels like a draw, you know?
Does it? Okay. Finland, Belgium. Yeah, I got no insight. You probably would have much more than me on that.
Finland, Belgium definitely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Finland is known for its elks, snow, rifles, and their affiliation to Nazi Germany during the war, but not very good at football. So,
To
yeah,
be
that
fair,
was
did they not also kick the Soviet Army's teeth
as
in?
well? Yeah, they did that.
They
yeah.
did. Yeah, they did kick the Soviet Army's teeth in.
Yeah, they did.
Um,
yeah. That one.
By using some of the aforementioned things, elk, snow, and their rifles,
Yeah.
I believe.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean,
I-
you know, I like the finish.
Not necessarily in that order. It may have been more like snow, rifles, elk, but you know.
Yeah, not in that order.
Russia,
Oh
Denmark.
dear.
I don't know. Russia, Denmark. What do you think there? Probably Russia, huh?
Where? Russia, Denmark.
Russia, Denmark. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a difficult one. Given current form, it's got to be Denmark, but Russia
Oh,
might
okay.
be a little bit sneaky.
All right. We already talked about England, Croatia, Scotland. Oof.
Yeah, the Scots are on a roll. So
So you're going to go with Scotland, huh? But in
I'm
the
gonna go
upset,
Scotland. Yeah.
Scotland, the upset. All right. Poland,
think-
Sweden. I think Poland on that, eh?
Poland definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Slovakia.
Swedes are only good for snow, not having rifles, and flowers.
The, because they kicked no one's teeth in, ever.
They just went peace, man.
Well, not true. What about
Well.
about the year 1000 when they were sailing boats around and joining in on
yeah,
the whole
they did.
Viking thing?
King Harold kicked them off the island, so
That's true.
That's fine.
All right, so that's a long time ago before they had a good team. Since they
Yeah.
had a good team. All right, so we're going with Poland there. Slovakia, Spain. I think Spain has got
Spain's
the nod
it,
there.
Yeah.
Germany's
Spain
the
has
easy
to have
one.
it.
I mean, if Germany loses to Hungary, that's going to be a massive upset.
Yeah.
And then I think France. Ooh, that's kind of tough, man, because the
tough.
Portuguese team is pretty good, but I think France got the nod.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
France
France are almost the what do they call them? The blue-eyed boys of the competition at the
Are they almost the top seed?
Yeah, favourites. Yeah, I
Yeah.
hate to say it, the French, but yeah, they are. Which the French are only good for garlic, onions, cycling, and reverse gears.
Garlic, onions, cycling, and reverse. No, not wine.
We do better wine in the south of England than they do in France. But
Whoa!
that's my personal opinion.
Wow! What?
Yeah, absolutely. A sparkling wine from East Kent It's got far better taste than that crappy stuff that sits in the wine cellars.
Oh man, I think, boy, there's a lot of support for your opinions on this channel, but I feel like that one may not have much.
Do you think not?
Sparkling wine. First of all, you're talking sparkling wine.
Yeah, not champagne, and that's old.
No, I know what you're
That's
talking
old.
about. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Prosecco and all these kind of.
Yeah, the proper stuff from east of England. Never mind them nonsense over there.
Cliffy says that's a bridge too far.
Yeah, yeah.
We've put up with Pilgrim's nonsense for a long time, but that's just a bridge too far.
Okay. Brilliant.
Next thing you're going to tell me is your beer is good.
Well, of course it is, because
Ah.
it's the real. It's not manufactured like it is in the United
It's real
States
ale.
or Belgium.
It's real
yeah,
ale.
It's real ale. It's got bits in it. It gets stuck in your teeth. That's why English people have bad teeth, because they got bits of hops and other sort of beetles and stuff that they make the beer out of stuck in the teeth.
Beetles. Are beetles
Well, yeah.
are beetles a big ingredient?
But hops. You know,
Yeah.
water,
And
sugar,
and
yeast,
beetles.
beetles.
That sounds delicious. Beetle beer. Yummy.
You don't know it till you've tried it, yeah. You want to try the Badger beer? They've got bits of Badger in it.
This has completely come off the rails.
Hasn't it just yet? Sorry.
Today's number one insane beer and wine talk. Battle Pass Season 5 is starting on the 22nd, my friends. The 22nd, which means, is Battle Pass this season till today, right? Today's the last day, I believe.
Today, I'll just check it. Yeah.
And somebody put in chat, I think 1.13 is coming up on Tuesday or so.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So
I
we
didn't
got.
see Tuesday. I didn't. It's preloaded, isn't it?
Yeah, someone said Tuesday.
Yeah.
Someone
Okay.
said Tuesday. Anybody have any essay on that? I haven't seen it. Wayne says Tuesday, 1.13.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh well, fair one.
So there you go.
That'll be a good talking point for next weekend, won't it? When it kicks in. June the 22nd, it's got here. Season 4.
Yep.
The Battle Pass.
Yep.
Yeah.
So finish up. Good news. Good news is, guys, that the good news is that all your coins from last Battle Pass will continue. So just keep grinding away to get the tanks you want. We understand there's 2 seasons left. The third one's going to be a little bit shoehorned, so I'm not really sure. If they do it, it's going to be during the Christmas season. That will be interesting to see. I think it's planned. So there
Well,
you
I'm just
go.
going to say, I mean, it's going to conflict with Halloween and Christmas,
Yeah.
isn't it? The end of the Battle Pass.
Well, but it really is a background thing. So it's not an event
Yeah.
in and of itself. So that might work. That doesn't seem like it's going to be a conflict where you're just whatever else is going on. You're like, oh, I can't do that because I'm grinding Battle Pass. Well, Battle Pass points come from all these different events, and I don't think it will be. It'll be in addition to.
Yeah.
So I think.
As you said, it's a background thing. isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
It's not like a marathon where you've got to focus to get the prize.
Yeah.
Things just roll in as you go along, don't they?
Now what they have? Yeah.
Keys.
What they have done is
With
they
the keys.
do what? The keys. Oh yeah.
In with the keys, yeah.
Oh, we're coming back up on another event with
We
keys.
are. We might get that special old garage.
I forgot about the birthday event. I hope there's keys.
Yeah, I do.
I
More
do.
than 5 this time.
I have 5 already. Well, actually, I have 2 because I only used 3.
Yeah.
The 3 got me a style, and then I have 2 extra laying around somewhere. It's like, all right, they are changing the points a bit.
They are.
Yeah, you get more points for the missions, the daily missions, and your bonus mission gives you 25 points, which is nice.
Right.
And the special mission that you get reward for whatever after you do 45 missions is worth 50 points. So you're going to there's some extra points thrown out there for you.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Vehicle
quite
point
nice.
limits look to be the same. The vehicles are the AMX-50, the CS-63, and the Badger.
Yeah.
And then we've got the 3 commanders, which are Jean-Marc Lemartin, Himmelsdorf, Katzarnia, I don't know, Chodkiewicz,
Yeah.
Himmelsdorf, and Douglas
That one.
McReed Himmelsdorf.
Yeah.
So I looked at this and I went, all right, Douglas McReed with a cowboy hat on. We got
Yeah.
Jean-Marc. He's the Okay, he's the Charles Martel for the MX. Okay, he's the 50B. Then we have the Czech lady, and she's the CS63. And then we have Douglas McReed with a cowboy hat, and I guess he's English. Or is he Australian? Like, who is this guy? Did Pilgrim freeze, or is he just staring off into space? We've lost Pilgrim. Pilgrim just changed his browser page. Pilgrim changed his browser page and locked up his computer because he wanted to see who Douglas McReed was.
Right, that's where we were at. I remember that bit.
Who? What is that hat? Is that some kind of English hat? What is that?
This is my
not yours. Douglas's hat.
Oh, Douglas's hat. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Hang on a minute. Where are we? Where is it? I've got to get to the pictures. I can't look at you because I've had to reload the player and it's just killed me.
Oh, you're gonna lock up again now that you switch it.
No, I'm looking at. Okay, Douglas McReed. No. Do you know what? That's a Spanish bullfighter's hat. Because he went to Spain for his national holiday, which is what most Brits do. They go to Spain for a holiday, and he went to the Kiss Me Quick stall. You know, the sell or the tat,
Yeah.
and he bought himself a Spanish bullfighter's hat to bring home.
Was he hammered on Spanish wine and
Yes, on
full
sangria.
sangria, and he was
Yeah.
he was full of paella,
Yeah.
just chock
Yeah.
full of paella.
Yes, if
Yeah.
it's any help, my honeymoon was in Spain before it was popular, and we came back with a donkey. All right, we'll leave it there. We just came back with a donkey, not a hat.
If you remember, that was a time of Great Depression in Spain.
Yes.
As soon as
it was,
when Pilgrim left,
yes.
he installed Pilgrinomics down there.
Indeed, the economy picked up no end when I left.
All right, so that's happening, guys. On the 22nd, we have what else we got going on? Subjects du jour. Subjects du jour. I think we're done with all that stuff. Subjects du jour. Update 1.13 is coming. I am sort of looking forward to this, Pilgrim, because I'm going to dust off the 5355, what I like to call the counter Doom machine,
Right.
and I'm going to hunt other arties, and that I think I'm going.
Nice.
I think I'm going to enjoy that.
I'm definitely going to use the French arties to their because of the maneuverability. I am definitely going to try it out. The similar vein to you, I'm going to fly around the back end of the battlefield looking for their arty. Yes, I got counted the other day in my Conqueror.
I know.
We
I
had
know.
a battle. I know
Yep.
it was a good ending to the stream.
That was the last battle where I got wiped out in the T-22 all HE loadout, and then you got nuked.
Yeah, I got counted.
Pig, I did not play it. I did not play it.
No.
What were your thoughts on it? I'm making a bold assumption that the counter is easier. I don't know if that's necessarily true. It seems like it should be, but I did not play it. So Windows 11.
It'd be nice. It'd be interesting. Anybody who's done it on was it Sandbox or Common Test, just to give us a brief, one-liner, if you like, on what their thoughts are. That'd be
Just from what it looks like it's
right. Traces are awesome to see. Okay. I was only playing the new maps as well. All right.
Oh, okay. Gio went to the dark
What?
side and bought the cockroach. All right. Yep. Join the dark side, my friend. Join the dark side. So 1.13. There's not much to say. Here it comes. We've got the arty thing going on. We've got what else is in 1.13? That's HE changes, right?
Yeah.
HE changes. Blah blah blah. Let's take a look at it. Let's see. I don't want a pre-loading guide. I just want to. Oh, come on now. I just want to know what's in it.
Quick look now.
I've lost track of what's in it. I'm gonna have to scroll way back to find a 1.13 article. There we go. Common Test 3 is here. Nope. Of course, there's no link to the actual regular article. Why would there be? Oh my God. Anyway, whatever. There you go. It's the HE changes and the arty stuff primarily. It will destroy the game, Clippy. Well, will it? I don't know. Do we have that? Then we have that. So we have three big things. One is on the back burner. The HE changes are coming. That's happening, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
nobody really knows how that's going to affect the game. Good, bad, and different. That remains to be seen. Don't care what the test results were. Nobody was playing on the test server like they will on the regular
No.
PUBG server. So
and that's
any
the point,
game
isn't it?
balance, any game balance things you got from the test server is null and void. Doesn't matter. Now the mechanics piece, yeah, does it work? Physically work? Some idea of balance, maybe. Really, all you should take from a test server like that is some possibilities of what you think it's going to do to the balance. Now you want to look and make sure it's not so obviously good or bad that you fix it. So that's what they're looking for. But there's a lot of room in between obviously good and obviously bad, and that's where it will land, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And it could be close to obviously good, or it could be close to obviously bad. You don't know until you release it into the wild. We'll see how people react. The Arty changes, I forgot about that. So that's the other big one, right? The different shells for Arty. Geo help remind me there. Thank you. So there's that out there.
Yeah.
There's that out there. There's Crew 2.0, which has been pushed off to the right.
Well, I think that's on the back burner at the moment.
It is. So it's been pushed well right on the schedule, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's still lurking out there,
Yeah.
right? I don't think it's gone away, right?
No, it's too big a project for it to have gone away. I think somebody's made an executive decision to sideline it for the time being while they focus on other things.
Well, see, but I'm tying these together because the issue is that these are all really big changes, and they don't have any clue whatsoever what it's going to do to their game.
Exactly.
And the next one then is the sandbox stuff that's going on right now with this that whatever the hell they call it,
field mods.
field modifications,
Yeah.
which you and I were talking about. It has some interesting stuff, some things that might be a good idea, but it's tied into some things that I think are a terrible idea. So let's jump into this.
Yeah, while you're bringing it up, I think the overall idea of having the ability to alter your loadout, I've always said this from the very beginning with World of Tanks, the ability to change your loadout to suit the map that you've been loaded into and your team and the enemy team, is a fantastic idea, and I've been advocating for that for a long time, because there's nothing worse than going in, for example, set up as a passive scout and then getting an aggressive scout map, and you go, oh crikey, I wish I had this, that, and the other on it. So that idea of having a swappable loadout during the countdown to suit the map you go into, and the enemy and your team makeup, I think that's an awesome idea. But when you start to get into the detail of it, like you're about to go into, there's some massive potential for overpowered games. Massive.
Trying to find where they have an example that was. There we go. That's what I was looking for. All right, so like you were saying, field modification. There's good stuff to it potentially. I think the big one, all about money.
It is.
Well, it's a silver sink. That's true. It's really the big thing is it allows a grind on top of once you've deleted a vehicle. There's more reason to play it,
XP,
which is not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. Yeah. Games do this all the time. They have a certain mechanic. You get to the top of it, and then they add stuff on top, so people have something else to do. Okay.
Yeah.
Question is what is that, and what does it look like? In general, up until probably a couple of years ago, this game didn't have a whole lot of, other than crews getting exponentially harder to get better, so it was a fairly limited bonus. There wasn't anything really that good players just kept piling on top of their stuff to get better. But now we have bounty equipment, we have the purple equipment, whatever the hell it's called, improved and bounty, whatever it is. So we have these things for being a good player and grinding out. We have directives that you can throw on things. Yeah. So we're starting to get to a situation where we have multiple buffs that can be added on top of tanks, which makes them just not much better, but certainly makes them better. And because good players can leverage stuff like that more than bad players, it ends up being a larger advantage for a good player, which is true of any game mechanic. That's just how good players are better than bad players. But if you keep piling things on that good players can leverage, the gap becomes wider and wider between the players. And the only reason that this game doesn't collapse under that right now is because of RNG.
Yes.
Without RNG, the stratification between good and bad would be unreal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The thing is, Guido, there will always be a call for. I mean, we were talking earlier on about how to keep the game fresh. There will always be a call to have that sort of mechanic in the game. But you're right in how far does that take the very good player away from the average Joe?
Yeah.
And does it make that particular tank overpowered? Well, this is, as you said, this is where RNG and a little bit of MM comes into it as well.
Well, the 3-tier system, sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah.
What would be nice to avoid is having that tier 10 in a 3-tier battle that is completely and utterly overpowered. So, what Wargaming have done, as we know, they give you a quid quo pro. So you increase your hit points by adding a certain package. It'll do something negative to another part of that particular tank's ability, whether it be maneuverability and that. However, as we've discussed earlier on, some of that stuff won't matter. If you want to increase your firepower of your mouse, you're happy to give up mobility, for example, as one of the quotes from Wargaming.
Yeah.
All day long I'll give up mobility if it means I've got another 25 hit points and my shell hits harder.
Good segue. And this is where I have zero confidence in the devs' ability to balance these things properly, because I don't think they really have a good grasp on how their game is played, or I think what it really might be is they don't care. And not because they don't care about their game, it's because they're so busy telling us what the roles of tanks are and how things should be played in their mind. And here's a great example. Great segue. Here's a great example right here. So this absolutely killed me. So we'll start on this paragraph right here. Let's see the advantages of this modification. And they're talking about the second special modification. So there's first of all, let's just back up real quick. There's a standard mod which just gives a bonus, some kind of bonus that makes your tank a little better. It's very small. There's a modification where when you load into the game, you can select different equipment. That's the one I think is the less egregious of the things. I don't have any problem with that. I want this setup or this setup. Then there's the one with the plus minus thing. Oh, by the way, tier 10 gets more of these abilities than tier 8 does.
Three, I think, in total, don't they, or something like that?
Because that's what you want. You want in a 3-tier system your tier 10 to be able to use more modification stuff than your tier 8 or 9. That's a good idea.
Absolutely.
Anyway, now back to my argument that the devs oftentimes, I'll try not to use absolutes. Oftentimes it seems like they're out of touch. Anyway, here it is. Let's see advantages of this modification. Say you're in a light tank on Malinovka with 3 SPGs. First of all, it doesn't matter how many effing SPGs are on Malinovka.
No.
It doesn't change. That would never in a million years in my light tank change anything I would do with my light tank.
No.
I think 99%. I think 99% of the players who are watching this, all 8 of you, 99% of the player base that had a clue anyway would change anything because there were 3 SPGs. So first of all, the very first 2 sentences, you've lost me. You're clueless. You have no idea what you're talking about.
When we're talking light tanks, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're trying to make a case, and their case is stupid. Sorry, guys, it is. It's anyway. Yeah. On maps open to artillery fire, it's not easy to play as an active scout. I thought Artie was for hitting heavies and campers.
You see, haven't
you been telling me that for the last 10 years? Artie is for digging out heavies and campers?
Exactly.
Anyway.
They are trying to, it's not a real word, but they're trying to roll-eyes classes of tanks. They're trying to allocate a role to a tank.
So you've made, So you've made 2 stupid statements right off the bat. We haven't even got into the use case yet, really. The standard equipment set for lights of coated optics, improved vent, and low noise exhaust system is not very helpful here. Well, first of all, you're wrong. That's not the standard setup. People are using CVS on tier 8, 9, and 10, bro. If you're not running a CVS, so they don't even know what people are using.
No.
And saying that that's a standard loadout is idiotic because it's not.
No.
Anyway, it's a valid loadout. You could use that. People are using a CVS if they can put it on. I promise you. All right. You might select an alternate configuration. This is the one that absolutely slayed me. Now I love binoculars, but I'm not dumb enough to say that it's any kind of thing that most people would carry anymore.
No.
You might use an alternate. Remember, you're trying to take on Artie. Binocular telescope, camouflage net, and the CVS.
Oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, are we looking at sort of TD lights, are we? What? Oh dear, oh dear.
With such equipment, you can be more useful to your team and play as a passive scout while hiding in the bushes instead of driving around the hills and green areas.
No.
Well, that's true. That is a more
Yeah.
useful passive setup.
Yes.
It's not what you would use, though.
No.
It's actually a combo of those two things.
Yeah.
Now,
I like the idea that you've got two different packages, and you can design
Sure.
one to be active, one to
Absolutely.
be passive. But the example they've given, and also the connection to Artie that they've used, it just makes the whole thing complete fallacy. It's just a made-up something.
I do like how they've tacitly acknowledged that active scouts get bombarded by Artie and have problems with it.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that they've told us for 10 years that Artie is for digging out hold down and campers and TVs. I love that. That's great. Anyway, the second one's even better. On the contrary, if you're a heavy tank on Himmelsdorf or Ghost Town, where the main fight will take place in city blocks, enemy artillery is not as big of a threat. False. Completely false. 100,000 million % false. It's less of a threat than if you sit out in the open in one of those maps. But absolutely,
Yeah.
you're going to get bombed by Artie because there are places where Artie can hit because you've designed your maps to do that because that's how you design your maps.
Yeah.
All right. Enemy artillery is not as big a threat. All right. So you won't get much use out of Spall Liner. Who the hell runs a Spall Liner other than on some super heavies?
I can't remember. Yeah, I think possibly on my Jap super heavy. I've got a
I
skull
don't-
liner.
So you
I
won't get
can't
much
even
use out of
remember.
Spall Liner. Actually, you won't ever get much use out of Spall Liner Wargaming because doesn't it only work against Splash anyway? Whatever.
Yeah.
In addition to
Directed.
in addition to the standard set of equipment, this is their standard set of equipment for heavies.
Yeah.
According to the
Yeah.
devs, gun rammer, improved hardening, and Spall Liner.
Yeah. Do you see? That's because they've already allocated that. Those little symbols, they've gone, if you're in a heavy tank, these are the only equipments really you should fit to your heavy tank. If you're in a medium, these are the only. Although you've got the choice of anything, they've actually narrowed the parameters down to saying this is what a heavy should have. So they go off that, and nobody listens to that. Nobody gives a toss about that.
Does anyone in chat consider that a standard loadout for a heavy?
I don't
Does
think I've
anyone
watched
think
that.
a standard equipment is gun rammer, improved hardening, and Spall Liner?
The last two, I don't think I've ever fitted to anything. I might for a laugh fit it to me to a light tank just to see what it does.
But you would never call that a standard loadout. It's not.
No, not at all.
It's just
You
it
won't-
isn't. So
No.
it's a good idea. I'm not against
Yeah.
that idea of being able to change around. But when they come and say, here's our game, here's the things we're changing, here's a use case, and their use case is idiotic,
Yeah, yeah,
regardless
yeah.
of whether the idea is a good idea or not, and your use case is idiotic, then in my mind it calls into question the whole system you're trying to do and why you're doing it. So what is the reason you're trying to do this? Well, Silver Sync, something to do on top of everything. What's the game improvement we're looking for in here? Is there one necessary?
Yeah.
Not really, probably. just something different. Now, I like this idea. What I don't like, I just wanted to bring that up. That's why I kind of scoffed this whole thing. I'm like, what? You can't even articulate a reasonable use case that makes sense the way the game is played. How am I going to?
Sorry, go on.
How am I going to believe that the rest of this is going to be useful or good?
Yeah, that's right. If they'd have just turned around and said, "Look, we've got a great idea, guys. We're going to design the game now so that during the countdown, if you particularly want a different package onto your tank, we'll let you do it." Enough! They didn't have to go into all this nonsense. Just go, "We've got a great idea." Before you actually get in, you'll see the map, you'll see the enemy team, you can change your loadout to whatever it may be. You don't have to describe it, give examples or anything. That would have done. That would have been.
Yeah, I know. I got no problem because that's just rearranging stuff that you have and giving people more options. Oh, that's fine to me. That's a great idea. Actually, someone mentioned ammo. Cliff, you said ammo. Absolutely, but now we start getting into the pluses or minuses. Somebody else also just mentioned, but Guido, they have numbers, and that's actually a great point because maybe, we're all here, we're all fairly experienced, we play this game quite a bit. Maybe there are numbers that show that is the standard loadout because that's what the potatoes use. For you know what I'm saying? They go off that work, and then they look at the numbers and go, 64% of players use this standard loadout for heavies.
That's the point that Randall made, actually.
So maybe I'm the idiot. Maybe I'm out to lunch. Maybe they come.
The idiot. I think you've got to look at. You've got so many different servers, and I think on this type of change, which is such a massive generic change, if you like, to the game. The mechanic of the game, they've gone across all servers. And which is the biggest server? The RU server. Next is the EU, SA, NA, and so on. So we are diluted. Our gameplay is diluted by, as you said, all the potatoes on the Russian server. The 2 million of them who play.
Yeah.
And just load out with hard tanks.
I mean, it could. I admit, maybe there's actual statistics that they go, that's what most people use on their heavies. Very well could be, and if that's what they're putting on their website, if that's what they're putting on their website, people who don't know better are probably running that way.
And you would have to say that's probably 100%, because, or near as damn it 100% true.
Yeah, there you go.
Because most businesses do rely on stats to give them. I mean, don't you just hate it? For example, in the workplace, my boss will come down to me and go, "Right, the error rate down in the warehouse is currently sitting at 98.7%. We need to get it up by another percent." You want 90% non-error rate. How do you get that without robots? So you as a person are so frustrated with that sort of thing. But he's using stats.
Yeah.
No. We're losing X $1,000 a year because of that.
Well, they're as you know, they're useful as long as the entire exercise doesn't become an exercise in chasing the stat.
Exactly.
I mean, if the stat shows something to improve, a place to try to improve, even if it's small or incremental, but if you start chasing the stat itself and you start, designing your processes so that it increases a stat without any context to the overall efficiency of your organization, then you've entered into stupid land.
Yeah, exactly.
The military does that all the time. All the time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so difficult to counter because the argument against it is, well, it's not the real world. Well, yes, it is because the stats say it is. Well, no, it's not the real world.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. You've got human beings involved here.
And someone else made a point about the RU server. It may very well be, and I bet it's very true. I bet Russian players don't necessarily give two craps about whether the game gets imbalanced, as long as they can, increase the capability of a tank. They don't care necessarily. And I suppose that's probably true of all the servers, without trying to cast aspersions on other people or regions.
No.
Most people are probably quite happy to get a bonus to a tank and don't care if it's a not unfair, but game balance kind of breaking bonus. They don't give a shit. I mean, clearly because people are quite happy to drive overpowered tanks all the time, as much as possible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's only
the IS-3As and defenders of this world. People wouldn't buy them if they weren't happy.
IS-3As, driving E25s with full gold loadouts, 6 M44s every tier 6 battle, EBR 105s in every tier 10 battle you run into, blah, blah, blah.
Goes on, doesn't it?
Really, a bit of an echo chamber here because we're you know highly engaged players, highly experienced
Yeah.
players, like the game a lot. Our view of things is going to be much different than the casuals and the ones who just want to be better, just want the best tank to rage around in and blow people up.
But the point, yeah, exactly that. The point is there's always, in any game, not just World of Tanks, in any game, there is a large percentage of the player base are just out for a bit of laugh, a bit of fun. They're not as, I wouldn't say serious, but they're not as nuanced as a lot of the 25-30% section of
Sure, yeah.
the game that are really into it. If you've played a game for 10 years, you've also got an inner feel for the game and how it plays out, which is why it's frustrating, which it has been for you for the last week. You've mentioned it, is that has this game passed me by, you said, because I don't understand what's happening on each battle anymore because people are not doing not the accepted thing, but people are not doing what is the meta, if you want to overuse that word. And so, when you've played it for that long, you have a nuance, you have an inner feeling about how a battle, and you can call it. I'm getting that way as well. I can call a battle within 2 minutes. I'm going, this is going to be a loss, so let's just do what we can.
Yeah.
Or, this looks good, it's going to be a win. And I'm very surprised at times when I'm wrong. I'm very surprised now when I'm going, oh, crikey, we won that one. And
I think in general you're probably still pretty close to right, but the wiggle room is more. I think it's wide open a little bit. I think a lot of the new players coming in from Steam have changed that a bit.
Right.
The meta does change, so you do have to adapt. It's you can rage against the wind and rage against the machine all you want, but if the meta's changing and you don't adapt, then there you go.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
You've got to look at what effectiveness you can bring to the battle in all situations, and I think this is all about. Again, we come back to maneuver warfare. Is having the flexibility to change your play style, if you like, to some extent. The over-aggressiveness, maybe that's not the place these days. I don't know.
Does the term casual refer to one's commitment to the game or frequency of play? That's a great question, Nave.
It is a good question.
It could be one or the other, to be honest, or both. Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty daggum dedicated game, but there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that that as always that's a hard one to just nail down and make an assumption that a casual doesn't care about the game.
Yeah.
Is it the amount of time you spend or the amount that you like? I suppose it's kind of both right there.
Yeah,
I get in terms of what I'm using it for, I'm probably using it for the person who doesn't worry about learning the mechanics of the game and doesn't play a whole bunch and just rolls in and tank go burr. Somebody said that, tank go burr, enemy go boom, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think also there are a number, not a large number, but there are a number of high game played players, if you see what I mean. They've got 50,000 battles, but they've got a very low win rate purely because they've never, and they're not interested in delving into the depth of the game. They just go in, drive the tank around, do lots of damage as much as they can, die, leave, next game. It's just fun. There is a large percentage, well, not large, but there's a percentage of players that actually just act like that. So you can't say that somebody's only got 5,000 battles is no better than somebody who's got 60,000 battles. You have to look at the overall picture and the person doing it. So yeah, absolutely.
Pig's probably about as close, I think, as you would get. It doesn't matter the amount of play you have; it's whether you worry to learn about the mechanics.
Yeah.
And I don't think it necessarily has to do a lot with how good your stats are. It may have a lot to do with how good your recent stats are. I mean, you can be a 48% player running 52, learning, right? You're learning, I guess, is the point, which is what we always talk about. Whatever your current level and whatever you've done in the past, whenever you started to decide to start to learn and get better, I bet you did.
Yeah.
Once you mentally make that break and say, "What I want to get better. Here's my past, here's my resume so far, but now I'm looking for help." Whether it's asking somebody, watching a video, reading an article, whatever, all the various things you can do to get better at the game. There's a point at which I bet once you mentally make that decision, things started getting better. Now it may not be exponential, but I bet you're seeing a slow
Yeah.
creep up in getting better.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I would concur to that 100%. I think also Pig makes a very good point, and it's something I've learned in the last 3 or 4 years, maybe 5 years, is that this is not a shooter game. It is a chess game. And this is why the metas, although it's important, there are times when being outside the meta actually is beneficial to you and your team.
Yeah.
Because it's a game of chess. So you have to look at the enemy chess positions and go, okay, it's looking like all their TDs have pushed the right flank. Then I'll do this or that, or and it's dynamic. The game will change as it moves forward.
Yeah.
With the exception of those 15-0 rollovers that happen within 2 minutes,
Yeah.
mostly it's a tactical game where you've got to have your brain switched on and your eyes open. And that's
Yeah.
why I love this game so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Left Shoe, was that a 3-course meal or was that all in one thing there?
That's a breakfast.
He says 3 of my favorite things, so I want to know if it was 3 courses or all in one.
Oh, did he have a chicken?
Are there commas there? Did he have chicken, pot, and pie, or did he have a chicken pot pie?
Like that.
Or did he have some chicken and a pot pie? Or did he have a chicken pot and then a pie? I don't know.
No, but the pot is separate by itself. It's chicken. He's had a bit of pot and he's having a pie.
Wayne, win rate going up and win percentage going down is standard and is indicative of somebody who is learning how to do more damage, lasting longer in the game, but not knowing what to do with that when they get there because they don't tend to get to that part of the game as often. And once you start getting to those parts of the game where mid to late game where your decisions matter more and more because there's fewer and fewer of you left, since you've not been there very much, it will increase. It will catch up. Usually there's a damage increase and maybe a win rate plateau or even a decrease, and then your win rate is going to follow a little while later as you learn how to do what you need to do to win in those situations. Because the fewer and fewer people that are in the game, this is just stands a reason. That's why I say preserve your vote. Get to the mid to end game. You have a vote. The better player you are, the more of an impactful you will be. And if you're not a very good player and you get to the end game, oftentimes you make bad decisions because you just haven't been there enough to know what to do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's standard. That's how it works.
Yeah. And that's exactly right, because that's exactly what happened to me. My 2 stats there were like maybe 1,000 to 1,500 games apart from each other. So my win rate would level out or even dip, and then eventually it would catch up. It would do this as I was progressing.
Yeah.
So that's exactly right. My win rate was behind me all the time, although it did eventually start to creep up.
Bogey says he's declining. He's found a really despised tier 9 and 10. Dude, then don't play it. Play 6 to 8. I can't. It can't. Straight up, there is no reason to play tier 9 and 10 unless you like it, or maybe you want to do clan war stuff. You got to have them, all that stuff. If you don't enjoy it, don't do what you don't enjoy.
Yeah.
That's where I am. I mean, I play it. I kind of enjoy it, but tier 10 gameplay is a mess in this game. It's a mess, and it's very different. It's very locked down. It's very static. It's not very much fun.
No.
So there you go.
It is exactly. The fun part of this for me is 6 to 8, and I do like to play my Death Star or my Leopard 1 occasionally, which is fine. The Death Star more just because I like deleting somebody with a single. But anyway, if I get the opportunity. But yeah, the fun part for me is 6 to 8.
Yeah.
And irrespective of some of the 8s you see 9 and 10, the great stuff about being in a tier 8 seeing 9 or 10 is that if you take a 9 or a 10 out, it's a great feeling. It's
Sure.
like, ooh, that was fun.
And it's not, if you love tier 10, go for it. But I think the corollary to that is if you love tier 6 to 8, don't feel like you have to go to 10 because that's where the game is. It just isn't. There's cool tanks at all tiers. Tier 1 through 3 is fun. It's seal clubbing because there's so many new players down there. If you could get a lot of experienced players down there, it would be as fun as anything else. But you get into the clubbing space. That's why I go to 6. Yeah. That's the lowest I go, and even at 6, it's a bit of clubbing for me. But 6 to 8 is the sweet spot. actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I just enjoy the gameplay down there. It's more wide open. You can do more things. Some of it is honestly because there's less good players down there, and I can kind of control a little more of what I'm doing. So I will admit to that. But it's also the mechanics of the game, largely for me, that the maps are not so just statically locked down because everything at tier 10 is oversaturated. It's all it's at the all the stats are at the top of the game. The metas are really kind of hard coded. It's so hard to be creative and do something fun. You just kind of have to do the standard thing. And if the standard thing doesn't happen at that tier, if your team doesn't do mostly the standard thing, you're in for a long day or a short day because it's probably going to end fast.
Short day, yeah.
And now you're farming simulator. Right now you're like, ooh, I saw a really bad deployment at tier 10. Now I have to roll back to farming simulator. And that's what the really good players do. They're really good at it. And they'll get their damage and they're working their 3 marks. And sometimes they'll even turn it into a win because they see it coming. But if you get to tier 10 and you try to make a bold play, you're probably going back to the garage.
Yeah. The number of times I've had also at tier 10, the very good players who play at tier 10 know all the slight little pixel snipe nuances in the game. And you're getting shot from places you've never been shot at before. And you're like, how on earth are they doing that? And, it's frustrating. It is.
All right, best tier 6 heavy. That's a good discussion item. Let's look at these guys. Best tier 6 heavy. Well, I think there's 2 contenders with a couple honorable mentions. Tech Tree. I really think it's the 3001P with the possibility of the M6 as second. Tech Tree.
Yeah.
KV2 is fun. It does its thing. 3601 is quite good, but it's not as mobile as the 3001, and I think the 3001's armor holds up every bit as well as the 3601. T50 is the T50. It's got, that 300 Alpha, I believe, gun, which is pretty fun to thump people with. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep, but has some other drawbacks. So I think it's really the M6 or the 3001.
I was going to say M6 personally. For me, M6 is I mean, it's an extension of the T1 Heavy, and I love the T1 Heavy. Yeah,
the M6 and the 3000 are more mobile. The T150 does have the armor. Somebody mentioned that they like that. The ARL is absolutely a sleeper, and I will admit that thing can be pretty damn fun. This is actually really a pretty dang good tier 6 tank. Also hits pretty hard at 240. Yeah, 240.
Yeah.
So not bad, and the armor actually holds up a lot more than you might think. But yeah, so I know that was all over the place. I think Pilgrim likes the M6. I like the 3001. ARL got thrown out there, and T150. So those are all solid picks. Premium-wise, the HT number 6 is really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's only 3 at tier 6. Isn't that interesting? Only 3 heavies?
Well, I didn't know that.
At least I only have 3, so I don't know if there's another one floating out there. But there's the HT, the TOG. TOG's a meme, obviously. 244 is not good.
Yeah. No.
But this is actually pretty good. The problem, of course, with the HT number 6 is it's Japanese, and how many people really play Japanese heavies? Tiger 131. I don't have that. That's true.
Oh, no, that's a good point.
Yeah, the Germans. Isn't there one other Tiger?
Yeah. There's the Tiger, the HT, which is a Tiger variant, isn't it?
It's a 131.
13. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. No. I think that's it. So, good question. There you go. Lots of options. KB85 is not great. 1S is not great. OI is the OI. I mean, again, another meme tank. The Churchill 7 is atrocious. Although I sort of liked it. It's just, plus it has Christmas camo on it. KV2R, Aussie Bush Ranger, 100%. Yep, there is another one. There's the 2R.
Oh, yeah, of course there is. Well, it's about
the Warhammer or whatever. Yeah.
The only problem with the KV2 is it's great. It's a great big boomstick, but you really need to be with somebody with support. You need a couple of mediums around you, or even a couple of heavies, because once you're out there on your own, your reload time just makes you ineffective.
Yeah.
So it's fun. It's a bit Death Star-ish, isn't it? The KV2 at tier.
Pig says he runs the ARL and spam with the other gun. What are we talking about? Other gun? I didn't realize.
The gun? I don't know. There's another gun, 105. Is there?
Let's see what we got here. The 90mm, the big one, 240. Oh, there's a 105. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I thought there was a 105, wasn't there?
with 3. All right. Yeah, look at that thing. It's got less pen, but not by a whole lot. Well, actually, the standard pen is a whole lot different, only 175. But it's got 223 with gold, which is usable, which is what he's talking about, spamming.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the gold. There you go. That's one of those weird ones, guys. Very interesting. Thanks for bringing that up, Pig. And there's a couple on the French line, actually, that do this. It's a premium shell that does slightly more damage. You see that it's got 300? And then when you spam gold, you're getting another 30.
There's 330 alpha, right?
Yep. They did that for a while. They played around with that. They also played around with gold AP shells in some of the Japanese tanks.
Yeah.
None of that. I thought maybe those were signs of the future or whatever, but it's just little weird nuances in some of these lines, and a couple of the French.
It's another one of those. They've tried it, I think, and it didn't go down that well.
Because I think the ARL V39, the TD, has the same situation.
Right.
Where, as I recall, it has a shell that does more damage. A different one of the guns that does that, I think.
Yeah.
Where's that?
There was a couple, because I think we touched on it a couple of weeks ago.
Oops. I'll research. Here we go. So it's got. Does this 90 mil do the same thing? No, it's 240. Maybe it doesn't have one that does that. Huh? Is it this one? Oh, it is this one. It's the 105. Yes. It's the 105. Yeah. It does the same thing. It's the same gun, I guess. That's what it looks like. Maybe it's the 105 that does 330 with gold.
Right.
And you lose the pen. Yep. Yeah. So it's an offshoot gun, which is the one I have on it. That's right. So that's the one I was using to 3 market. It's the big stubby, the big gun, the 105 on that bad boy. Is that what it is on the ARL as well? The heavy? It's the 105, I guess, probably on that one too. Correct. Yep. So basically the same gun. And there you go. Those are those little things that you don't necessarily know when you're new. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and this is the game is so complicated and involved. You're forever learning anyway, and that sort of stuff. I mean, some of this stuff we've talked about, it's new to me.
Yeah.
But and it's stuff that I will go back and try out. You know, I'm going to try now the ARL with a different barrel. I didn't even think about that just to see what it's like. And I remember I did it with the VK 3601. I think I put the smooth bore on it. You know, because people went, oh, it's a pew pew almost a pew pew. And then I went back to the 88 because I wasn't hitting hard enough.
The answer to should is it depends on what you want to do.
Isn't it?
I mean, if you got the money and you want to spam some gold and do a little extra damage when you hit and accept the slightly less gold pen, then go for it. You know? Yeah.
There's a lot of discussion about win rate. And my caveat to win rate is it's not always player dependent, because you have to rely on the team doing their stuff because you need the win for win rate. It is a fairly good indicator over a large number of battles. So if you got
it is absolutely, in my opinion, the number one indicator of skill over a large amount of battles.
Large amount of battles, yeah.
I can't put too fine a point on it because that's just how it works.
Yeah.
Whatever you think of the game or the various pluses and minuses and pay for win or whatever, the system is the system. This is the game. It's how it's set up. You can rage against it and say it's unfair or whatever. Maybe. But the people who work within the system, who play the game, after a certain amount of time, if they're running at 58, 65, 49%, whatever it is, that's your resume. That's your effect on the game.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to tell you. It is. No. That's your effect on the game. That's what it is. If it's over 10 games, then there's a wide range of possibilities. Yeah. Unlucky, lucky, RNG, you ammo racked one of the best tanks early. That list goes on and on and on. But over time, given enough battles, and I would say 10, 20,000 for a player, taking into account recents, which are your recent capability, and again, subject to wide variability. But over time, that's your resume. That's how you've done.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely that. And also on top of that is that as you have more battles, I've got 32,000 battles, you've got over 60, I think now. the ability to affect your win rate percentage is harder because it takes the overall quantity of battles. So you get incremental, tiny changes. You don't get the big swings anymore, going from 45 to 49 to 43 and all that sort of nonsense.
Yeah.
Progression is a lot slower.
Right. Yeah, because of the law of large numbers.
Because of the quantity, it goes again. Yeah.
And Lefty makes a great point. So this is why, when I look at people's overall resume, when I'm doing an analysis or I'm helping them out or coaching, it pays to ask a few questions, because once you get the background information, you can parse those stats and have a better idea of context, which is often the biggest thing missing in stats discussions is context. You know, he says kids played the game, noted. So really, that's why I brought up recents matter.
Yeah.
You can't just look at it and go, oh, he's a 49% player, he's just average. Well, if he's running 58% for the last 3,000 or 4,000 battles, he's learned, he's getting better, which is great. You know, that's fantastic. That's the goal, I think. That's the dream. It doesn't really matter what your overalls are as long as you're learning. But if you're sitting at 47% and your recents are 46, you're not a good player. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's not because you're a bad person or an idiot or anything.
It's just fact.
Well, and it's probably that you haven't bothered to learn this stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And again, that's not a statement on anyone's. Maybe you don't have time. You know, you got time. You sit down. You play 3 games a night, and that's all. You're busy and got a life and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You know.
No. The thing is, what I find about this type of conversation with anybody, is that if people want to use stats as a shameful thing, or stats as a indicator of what, you know, a fool you are,
your worthiness, right? Yeah, your worthiness.
Exactly that. I mean, you know, my answer to that is like, you know, seriously, mate, get a life. But it has its place because it has an indication on how serious you're taking the game. If you want to learn, and you want to get better, and your recents, your last, I don't know, 60 days, 1,000 battles, whatever, are an improvement, then obviously you're serious about this game. If you're not, that's fine. I've got no problem with it. But don't you come back to me and give me grief over stats when you can't be bothered to actually learn. It's like anything else. If you, as an instructor, trying to teach recruits or anybody else anything, if people are not willing to learn, and you know you're doing your best to make that particular instruction interesting to that person, then they'll never learn. So don't come back to me and give me grief. I'm not interested, mate, on that basis. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's personal based, because Gio says, "Okay, Guido, I get it. I suck." That's not it, because you're only playing against yourself on your stats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, yes, you can try to do the whole, you know, I want to be the number one guy in this tank, or I want to be the top win 8 guy in the game and stuff. But then we get into the chasing stats thing, which we talked about a little earlier. But really, it's just where you are and what you want to do, and can you get a little better than you are. I would love. I'll just apply it to me. I would love to be 65%. I would love to play as well as skill does.
Yeah.
It ain't happening, man. It ain't happening. Now, I can work on it and try to get better and better, and I say it ain't happening. I don't know. Maybe it could. I don't think so. But that's the realistic part.
Yeah.
Right? As good as I am, and I'm pretty good at the game, I still think I could probably get a little better. But there's diminishing returns, and then so the question is, where are you, and can you get better than that? That's all. That's all that matters, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, come back to Gio's point, mate. You don't suck. You just play the game at the level you want to be at. You know, I mean, or even trying to improve. Sometimes you need a little bit of outside help to improve. I certainly did. I mean, I was seriously, you know, falling off the cliff until I was persuaded to join the clan, and then Guido took time out kindly to just point a few home truths to me. You know, and sometimes you need that. Nobody sucks at this, you know, unless you actually purposely go out there to be a suck, if you like. But you know, sometimes it's just you either play the game just because it's fun and you're not really interested in it, or you're playing the game and you want to get better, or you're playing the game for whatever reason you play the game for. That's fine. You know, and seriously, mate, you don't suck. You might want to improve. You might not know where to look for help. And there's a segue. $25 an hour gets you help.
Oh my God!
I'm only joking, mate.
Bloody
I'm only
hell!
joking.
So, or just watch skill play and imitate some of that if you can. But that's a
Yeah.
whole nother subject.
Crikey, that. I mean, I've watched. You've watched him. I've watched him. We've all watched him. I'm like, I don't know how he does this. I can't do that in game. I don't have that level of focus that he almost does it while he's stroking the cat, smoking his vape, and putting the kettle on. He's like, boop, boop, yeah. What's that? You're like, I don't know.
Yeah. Really, at the end of the day, for me, the whole stats thing just comes down to personal honesty. I don't actually have an issue with bad players necessarily. I have an issue with people who are bad and don't think they are, or aren't honest about it, or blame it on everything but themselves. And you can certainly blame it on exterior stuff as part of the issue, right? If I go into a battle and I get one shot from the first shot on an ammo rack, RNG has a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
Right? In small sample sizes.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean,
so I have a valid complaint. I hate RNG. I hate ammo racks. Whatever. That's valid. But if then you extrapolate all that over your entire career, well, the only reason I'm at this percent is because all these other things that have nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
I think personally you're barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah. I mean, for Twitch, again, these are personal opinions, but I think over and above that, there is a reality to some of these personal opinions that actually fit into the game. People, you've seen the forums.
Well, they're always valid complaints. I'm not, nobody is saying raging against RNG or a bad matchmaker or your team's bad. These are all valid complaints. The question is how far you extrapolate it into explaining your stats.
Yeah.
If that's all you think it is, then I think personally you're wrong. It goes back to the context of the stats. You got to take it all into context. I have plenty of losses where it was just one unlucky, stupid thing that happened. I have plenty of losses where it was me being stupid.
Yeah, I have most of those.
I have wins where I did virtually nothing. I have wins where I carried the entire game.
Yeah.
And everything in between.
Yeah, well, the nature of that of the game is exactly that. And there are times. I mean, I've got a Badger replay knocking around somewhere. Nearly 6,000 damage, but we lost. And you're thinking, what more could I have done? And actually, when I sent you the replay, you went through it and you went, well, there is a point in that battle where you could have affected it and made it perhaps a win. And until somebody said that to me, and I looked back at it and went, yeah, never mind, I've got 6,000 damage. I actually was out of position at that point, and that's what turned the game.
Randall,
so
we have definitely been ignoring chat.
Well, yes, I have. Sorry, guys.
Average on a good day. Have fun, blame others. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the finest tradition of World of Tanks. Enjoy yourself, blame everyone else for your problems.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough of that.
Sitting in the back.
That's enough of that.
Yeah.
Did you have you had a contest you wanted to throw out there, right?
Yeah, competition time, guys. Right. All right. Now, listen, this is a doozy. This is a good one. Okay. It's a history competition, as promised last week. History competition, and it's on the history of the United States of America. So please excuse me if I've got any of these facts wrong.
Send it.
No, actually, they're all researched. Okay. So just so you know, what Plymouth Rock, you close Wayne, and you Aussie. Just so you know, the prize this week, for 1 week only, is a coaching session from Guido or 1,000 gold. Okay, so the prize is a coaching session with Guido, or if you don't want that, 1,000 gold. So here's the question, as always, 3-part question on the United States of America. All right. As of January 2020, this is the first part of the question. As of January 2020, there was still a person claiming a Civil War pension. A Civil War pension. I need the name and how much a month was that pension. How much in dollars a month was that pension? All right. The second part. Don't forget, you've got to have all 3 answers in one answer. You can't split it up. Okay. The second part of the question: the Constitution of the United States of America was modelled on what? The Constitution as written by the founding fathers of the United States, was modelled on what? And the third part of the question is, what is classed as the oldest city in the United States of America? Classed as the oldest city. Okay, so 3 answers, although there's 4 answers because you need the name and the amount of pension for the first question. But basically, in 5 keys, Wayne, no.
So one of them I knew about. One of them
got it straight away.
One of them I knew the actual answer. One of them I was aware of, but I didn't know the name. And what was the second one?
Right. Okay. Well, the Constitution.
The Constitution. Yeah. That was one that I didn't quite get, but I had read about it, and I did know about that. Although I wasn't able to come up with it in conversation. Once you said it, I went.
You need all 3 answers, my friend. Don't give me 2 answers. People, don't give me 2 answers. Give all 3 answers in one go.
The pension is an interesting story.
Yeah.
It also reminded me of the fact that President Tyler, I think as of last year, and I don't know if he's still alive because he was in his 90s, President Tyler, the 10th President of the United States, has a living grandson.
That is absolutely crazy, isn't it? That is crazy. Good, Johnny, I'll repeat the first question for you. Sorry, Guido. The first question was, a Civil War pension, United States of American Civil War pension, was still claimed by this person in January 2020, and how much a month in dollars was it? So that's just repeating the first 2 questions. The first question. The other 2 questions, Zimbo. Okay.
It was. Yeah, go ahead with the second 2. Yeah.
The others. Okay. Constitution of the United States of America was modelled on what? And the oldest city in the United States of America, official.
Yeah, I knew the oldest city right off the bat.
Yeah. I fell off my chair when Guido answered. Literally fell off my chair.
That was some old guys getting busy, because that's exactly what happened with old Tyler. His son, Tyler had a son on a second or third wife when he was quite old. His son did the same thing when he was quite old, and now that guy's son, so the grandson of Tyler, like 2 generations of very old men having young sons. Now he's 90, so that's how they've bridged that much time.
Isn't that absolutely crazy?
160 years or so in 3 generations.
President of the United States has a living relative right now.
Well, a lot of them have living relatives, but you're talking grandson. It's not like great-great or great-great-great. There's plenty of those running around.
I know, yeah, but you know what I mean? Yeah, that's true, isn't it? Yeah. But yeah. I mean, it's just amazing. Nobody's got the right answer yet.
Look at Left Shoe's answer. Look at Left Shoe's answer.
Yeah, it's close, but it's not right.
Yeah, yep. Close.
Again, Ozzy, you were close, yeah.
Yeah.
Wayne, you were closest of all.
Someplace in Florida.
Wayne with his 5 keys, Crew 2.0, and Dackles.
Dackles.
Oh dear.
All right. Well, if we go into overtime here, make sure you send the info to Pilgrim, and he will determine the winner time wise. Don't send it to me. That way we take the middleman out.
Yeah, you can whisper me here, or you can PM me in game, or if you're on Discord, send me a message on Discord. So either one of the great 3 ways of contacting me.
Your great uncle was a recipient of the Medal of Honor for Civil War. Wow, man, nice, very cool.
That is cool. Yeah, that is cool.
It's not nice. I'm sure he could have done without being in the war, but you know what I'm saying. Interesting. Yeah. Let's put it that way. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I had my great grandfather, great or 3 grades, something like that. He was a Virginia Cavalry, Union side of Virginia Cavalry, because Virginia was kind of split in half.
Right.
Zimbo's got some more stuff on there.
Yeah, you see, you're close, but there's one thing you've got. Shall I just help everybody along? 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3. Yeah. You're all getting 2 out of 3.
Oh, hold on. Look at the last one.
You are getting. Oh, hang on. Yeah, Johnny, you've got it. There
GA
you go.
got it. GA got it.
GA, Johnny got it. Well done, buddy.
All right.
The sticking point for everybody was the Constitution.
All right, you silly Brit. Hold on. Let me just calm the natives, because people are going to lose their minds. You're absolutely right about Magna Carta and English Bill of Rights. I think he was more talking about some of the format
Modeling.
part of it. Modeling. There was definitely some of the Iroquois, and that's lesser known. So there you go.
Yeah, which is why I picked it, because it was the word modelling. It was modelled on that
Yeah.
particular confederacy of Native Americans. Although, of course, the English Bill of Rights and the Magna Carta and everything else were because they were Englishmen.
Well, and the whole history of Western democracy was obviously wrapped up in that. Interesting that the Indians had some similar ideas as well. And,
isn't that amazing, though?
yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
But really, it was the Confederacy part. So the whole Republic piece, and how to model the Republic was what they took from the Iroquois, because that was what was significantly different.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah, individual rights is English. That's 100%. It's Western. It's the culmination of Western.
Well, it's democracy. It's what democracy is
Yeah,
about.
but individual rights, Western. What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
Liberty, I guess.
Liberty. Basically, it was the Magna Carta, for example, came about because not because the peasants were suffering. It's because the lords and nobles were getting peed off with the king having his own way about everything.
Yeah.
So they went, well, actually, we want a Bill of Rights. We want that, we all have a right as a human being, as an Englishman, and therefore you, king, have to sign this, otherwise we're all going to withdraw our support for you.
Yeah.
So it wasn't about the peasants. It wasn't about the average man. It was about actually the nobles, wanting their piece of cake and eating it. So, yeah, the 1%.
Yeah.
There we go. Right, Johnny, just let Guido know whether you want coaching, or let me know coaching or gold or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll sort that out as of today sometime if you let me know.
Yeah, I think the Articles of Confederation, Cliffy, are more directly, but the general idea of it was fleshed out with stronger federalism in the actual Constitution. But yeah, you're right. The Articles of Confederation would have been the first thing they used it for.
Johnny
all right,
wants
cool.
coaching, Guido.
Coaching. All right.
Okay, cool.
All right.
I'll sort
Send me an email to guido@1212gaming.com, because that's how I'm doing all the scheduling. So that's it right there. Just send me an email. Say, hey, it's GA. I'm getting my reward or prize or whatever, and then
I'll put that away today, so it's done.
Yeah, I'll send you the email and we'll do the scheduling and figure it out. Yeah, we'll see you on the battlefield, Wayne. That is all I've got from the left side of the Atlantic. Guido signing off. I'm out of coffee.
And this is Pilgrim signing off from the correct side of the Atlantic. Take care, guys.
See ya.